Hello, my name is Lucy Blandon, and this video, although it may look identical to the last video that you saw, or the herbal medicine video, is all about EFT tapping. Now, EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques, and whilst I don't think of that as being a particularly great name, it was the name that was given to it by Gary Craig, the guy who kind of discovered this tool. Now, quite simply, it's a really easy self-care tool. We literally just tap on parts of the body, mostly on the face and around the upper body. And that by doing that, you access the meridians. Now, meridians are energy channels in your body. If you've never heard of those before, they're part of Eastern medical traditions and have been talked about and part of that for millennia, literally. But in the 1960s, science found microscopic structures which correspond to the meridians. So it's not esoteric. You don't have to buy into any kind of ideology or paradigm. They exist, and that's what we use to work with. So how can hitting yourself be in any way beneficial? I find this bit a little bit harder to explain, but there is something about accessing that energy, that raw part of you, not raw, the deep part of you, the part of you that's intrinsic, right inside. And if you've been feeling stuck or held back, something just doesn't seem quite right, and it doesn't shift. Then EFT is an absolutely brilliant tool. By tapping on the points and speaking the words of what you're feeling and what you're experiencing, because it could be physical as well as emotional, you access it in a new way and it begins to shift. Sometimes they just go right away and it's like magic, and my goodness, I can't tell you how wonderful it is when that happens. But it doesn't always happen like that. We're all different, and different things happen in different ways. Other times you find that there's, that top layer was just a kind of a story, something that we're more comfortable with, and that's okay. It's not something that you've made up. It's just a slightly different slant to the one that perhaps is the one that really bothers you. So when we start to tap on that, then things can really begin to shift. And you accessing that shows that things are moving for you and that they have the potential to be cleared. And the beauty of that, because it sounds like, oh God, what? I find another layer underneath the top layer. So what I thought I was thinking isn't really what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling. But you just keep tapping until those layers begin to melt away. And sometimes it's upsetting, and that would be not an unusual part of the process. But sometimes it's just such a huge relief, and you feel like something's been lifted off your shoulders, and as though you can breathe properly. So if I can do this by myself, why would I need a practitioner? Well, I think that's a valid point, but primarily, working with a practitioner enables you to go deeper. I have the benefit of giving to you compassionate objectivity and a massive dose of empathy. And an empathic practitioner, when you're working through things that have been troubling you on an emotional level, maybe for a long time, is exactly what you need. And in doing that, I help, I enable, I give you that possibility to begin to see the wood for the trees. And sometimes, the what of what the trees are is where we get stuck, rather than, in a way, just clearing the trees out of the way and going, okay, it's a broader vista than that for me. Okay. It's difficult to explain it sometimes, but if you've ever talked something through with somebody and you felt that shift to begin to take place, so not the kind of telling somebody a new person every time you meet them, the same thing that just compounds that place that you've got stuck in, but talking about it in a way that goes, oh, I see. There's a different way to view this. There's a different way for me to think about this. And that's what working with a practitioner does. It's not because I'm going to tell you, do this or do that, but I'm going to facilitate you in finding your way to, it could be different. So that's the benefit of working with a practitioner. And I can honestly say that tapping with a practitioner has been one of the best things I've ever done in my life. And I've done a lot of self work and a lot of, tried a lot of different things. And it's helping me step into who I truly am and being the best of what I can be. And that's so, it's priceless. It's so invaluable to me, because obviously as a self-employed practitioner, standing out there and being who I am is part of, marketing myself. Now, that may not be the situation for you, but feeling confident, competent, and just being right there in your shoes and authentic to yourself, it just feels like nothing else. So I can only recommend EFT tapping, either for yourself or with me, or with any practitioner that seems like the right fit for you. And if I'm sounding evangelical and as though this is some kind of miracle cure, it's because I feel so passionately about it and have been absolutely blown away with the power and effectiveness of what I've seen happen with EFT, both in myself and with the people that I've worked with. So if you want to work with me, if you're inspired by what you've heard, and I really hope you are, I offer one-to-one sessions, and I can do those as pay-as-you-go or in a group blocking of a course of 3, 6 or 10. But I also have group tapping sessions which are much more budget friendly, and but you tap with other people and you get the benefit of shared togetherness and connection that is absolutely wonderful. There are a couple of really lovely groups. The groups are called Calm Club and Sleep Well Sessions, and they probably don't need much more explaining because I hope their names are sufficiently self-explanatory. But I really look forward to hearing from you if you're interested in doing some work with EFT and me. Do get in touch, and I look forward to hearing from you.